Hello there beautiful humans, my name is RidersDX. Welcome to my channel where today we're going to talk more about Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2. And so while we wait for that inevitable announcement to finally come to our doorsteps, there's so much more about the game that we could talk about and speculate about. But one thing that I realized I haven't fully talked about is all the screenshots that we got of this game so far. I've mentioned about 2 I think so far in my videos, but there's actually 2 more that came out all the way back in like February of this past year that I'll be honest, I think I did see them before, but I did not think they were real screenshots. I thought they were fake or like made up or something like that. But because of the fact that these screenshots do technically take place in that same like blue box stage that we saw like the more recent screenshots in, I thought, you know what, let's just go ahead and put all the screenshots here right now, look through all of them, kind of analyze whatever we can get, and then just have a nice discussion about what we're seeing of this game thus far. I mean, we already seen the box art clearly, but let's dedicate this video to talk about the actual in-game stuff that we've seen so far. And I'm going to start off with the ones I have not talked about yet. And so the first one I want to direct your attention to is this one of Squidward. And so technically these are 3 pictures actually of Squidward's motto, and it does show some very interesting stuff over here. So if you point to the one to the left, this one is a Squidward doing some kind of like weird dance move, and if you recall, this is very much a reference to that first season episode of SpongeBob where Squidward hosts a talent show, the Krusty Krab, and this is basically one of his very infamous dance moves in that episode. And I'm thinking that like this could be a taunting pose, but it could also just be an attack. It could be like a down special or something like that, and Squidward just like dances his ass off to attack people. Like his dance moves are literally offensive. So I think that'd be really cool. They definitely got the eyes down and such. I hope his body looks like more fluid in motion. It's hard to tell with the screenshot because, you know, with a screenshot you can't see how the character is moving, but I hope it's as fluid as it is on the show, because I mean there's just a bit of a visual spectacle to that part of the episode that everyone loves, and that's why it's remained so iconic in the SpongeBob franchise. So hopefully they get the animation right. You can see the next pose over here in the middle. Squidward has some kind of like X mark on his head, and it looks like he's preparing to attack or something. I wonder if that's like an X mark that's meant to represent him getting angry. I mean, Squidward's anger is one of his like most important characteristics of him, and so I guess it might make sense that they would try to represent that a little bit more visually, although I think the X mark over here is a little bit random. So if this is like a newer episode reference, then let me know in the comment section below. I'm not really thinking of anything at the moment as to what it could be a reference to, but maybe it is a reference and I just don't know about it. So let me know if you think it's a reference to something, but to me it looks like he's either been damaged and that is supposed to be a representation of the damage he's taken so far, or he's preparing for some kind of attack and that's just a visual representation of that. That'd be really cool actually, if the more damage you took in the level, the more it shows on your character. I mean, that's definitely something I don't think is necessary, but would be a really nice little detail nonetheless, and would make the game a joy to watch back, because little animations like that would be really fun to spot afterwards. And then this last one over here is Squidward in a wheelchair, and this is most definitely a reference to the episode where Squidward is taken to go jellyfishing with SpongeBob and Patrick when he's basically crippled to the point of no end. So the only thing that's really missing here is the cast. Like, we need Squidward to be wrapped up in all these different bandages and looked pissed off. I mean, it looks a little bit strange to have Squidward in his normal clothing here and just sitting in a wheelchair. Like, it seems a little strange. So since these screenshots also take place in that little blue box area that we've been seeing so far of these pictures, this probably is like an incomplete picture of Squidward. He probably is going to get those bandages wrapped around him later on, because otherwise it would just be a really weird way to like half-ass reference, you know what I mean? This is probably most definitely a pose. I can't imagine this being like an actual attack. So what an unfortunate pose to have as a taunt, you know, basically having yourself be wrapped up in bandages looking defeated and such. That's a really ironic taunt. Now the next screenshot I want to take your attention to here is of Patrick, and so this one is a brand new attack that we did not see in the original game of Patrick, where he's basically using his rock to really damage people. And this is a reference to that first season episode where Patrick is sleeping with SpongeBob because SpongeBob's house is, you know, basically gone in this episode. And so Patrick is basically half awake thinking that there's spiders around, so he uses his entire rock to try to crush those spiders. And I actually read somewhere that this might be a bit of a Final Smash like move, because I don't know if that's like a leak somewhere I read about or someone is just speculating about it, but apparently Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 might have these special abilities that are very similar to Final Smashes in Smash Brothers, where the characters get like a really major power up and they can have this like really intense attack that makes them invincible, and they just basically move around trying to knock people out. And so this might be Patrick's, and I can't think of a more perfect move for Patrick's Final Smash like ability. And this looks absolutely hilarious, and to see Patrick's like own animation getting hurt by this is really funny as well. And so I think this is just a perfect example of like a great reference, like a great use of reference, because you can have references all you want in a game, but if the reference like just suits the mood like perfectly, then that's even better. And this is an example of that. This is a perfect reference to SpongeBob, and I can't wait to see what else they come up with if this really is like a Final Smash like move, because that means all the other characters have one, and I'm really curious to see what the other characters would have. If you have any ideas as to what kind of Final Smash you'd like to see for the other characters, then let me know in the comment section below. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about here is one I've touched upon a little bit before, and that is of Danny Phantom over here. So obviously all this art around it is not a part of the leak, but you do see Danny Phantom over here. He looks pretty similar to his model from the original game, but the big difference here is that he has a sword. And so I previously mentioned in like my last video, I think, where I talked about the screenshot, that this sword does make sense for Danny Phantom because he actually does have a scene in the episode of Danny Phantom where he is holding a sword, but it has like a green aura over it. So this looks a little different. I think someone pointed out to me in either the comment section or I read somewhere else that this actually is probably like an item that you can grab, because Nickelodeon All Star Brawl did technically have items added on after launch. So it would be pretty reasonable to expect there to be items in the sequel as well, and this sword looks like a regular item that anyone can grab. And so yeah, this is probably just an item that you can grab in Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2, and Danny is just using it. And so that does confirm that, like, hey, we might be seeing all sorts of other items appear in this game, and that's going to help vary up the gameplay a little bit more. So that's going to be really cool. Danny Phantom looks really solid otherwise. I can't wait to see more of him in action. You can see that this is still that like blue test stage that we've been seeing so far in the previous screenshots. And then this last and most recent screenshot that we got is a screenshot that confirmed the existence of El Tigre in this game, as the creator has basically led on to us at this point. So El Tigre is over here just attacking Garfield over here, also confirming the return of Garfield, and it looks like he's more of a long range fighter because he's basically extending his claw out to attack Garfield over here. And so that'll be a really interesting aspect to El Tigre that I'm really interested in seeing more of. I don't know much about the character, to be honest. I actually don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right, so let me know if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Just I do need to like catch up on the show at some point and kind of figure out what it's about. But it'd be really cool to see like a character like him appear in this game, because that's a relatively deep cut over here. He may be one of the newer Nicktoons, but he's one of the less prominent Nicktoons, and he's basically like not gonna come back unless like something happens otherwise. And so this is a really nice sign of Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 including some more obscure characters, kind of like the first one did with like the real monsters, for instance, Wild Thornberries, all those like classic Nicktoons characters that we just didn't think would get into a game like this. But those are all the screenshots that I know of so far. There's any other screenshots over there, then let me know in the comment section below. But these are the only ones that I see have been mentioned so far, and also the ones that seem to have the most like support as to like being actually real. So this is exciting for a game that's not even announced yet. We already have quite a few leaks about it, and I'm interested in seeing if there's going to be any more leaks until the actual inevitable announcement. Let me know what you think of these screenshots. Are you all excited about certain aspects of the screenshots? Are you not? Let me know what you really want to see in Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2, and if you want to keep up to date with more Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 news, and be sure to subscribe to this channel, because every time we get some new info about Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2, I'll be one of the first people to report it here on this channel. So alright y'all, thank you so much. This is Riders, riding out.